save his soul, save his wife, save his children, save him. Have somebody give him a Bible so that he could lead this country in righteousness. And I'll tell you that if your spirituality is simply limited to what you pull up on your cell phone or your iPod every day, you're in trouble. It's ratcheting up some more. Army showdown at eligibility corral. Top doctor refuses orders, tells Obama to show birth certificate if you have one. A top-ranking, highly decorated officer in the U.S. Army says he's now refusing all orders until President Barack Obama finally releases his long-form, hospital-generated birth certificate to prove his eligibility to serve as Commander-in-Chief. He says, I feel I have no choice but the distasteful one of inviting my own court-martial, said Lieutenant Colonel Terry Lakin, an active-duty flight surgeon charged with caring for Army Chief of Staff General George Casey's pilots and aircrew. The Constitution matters. The truth matters. Basically what he's doing is he refusing. He's supposed to be deployed to Afghanistan, and he's refusing to go because he said, I don't know that the president, the one who's giving me the orders, has the right to give those orders. Now this is going to be an interesting story to follow, and it's very interesting how this man is taking his stand and the level that he has achieved in the military. We have a high-ranking officer, a surgeon, who's saying, I'm not going to go. I'm not going to go to Afghanistan. And I think this is an interesting story to watch. Here's a question that I have. We know that the upper echelons, with all the technology and all the things like that, we know that let's just play the advocate here. Let's say that Barack Obama really is not an American-born citizen. Now, I don't know that, and you don't know that, and that is the problem, is that we don't know. Let's say that he actually was born in Kenya, or he was born in, who cares, okay? Let's say that he was. Let's say that there is not a real United States issued, hospital issued birth certificate on Barack Hussein Obama from the state of Hawaii. Let's say that it doesn't exist. Hasn't the upper echelons, with all the technology and all the things that they can do, haven't they had the time to manufacture one and make it look genuine and real? Haven't they had the time to do that? Yeah, they have. How come we don't see one? I'm just asking a question. How come, in the absence of let's say that there is an absence of a legitimate birth certificate, how come, in order to save the president's credibility, the powers that be, I mean, they can print money. They can make documents. We know the CIA makes documents all the time that look real. How come they haven't done anything like that for this guy? It's just a question. Anyway, I will tell you that in a lot of areas, President Obama is in trouble. He's in trouble with all the people against health care. He's obviously in trouble against the right-wing militia groups. He is in trouble with a surgeon, an Army doctor. He is in trouble with about half the country. And now I think he's getting in trouble with God. There are several things that a man can do in his life that God will, I'm not saying God pacifies these things, but there are certain triggers that God has, and one of them has to do with Israel. Let me read to you what I'm getting at here before I read the article. I'm glad I have a Bible. I'm glad I have a Bible. Genesis chapter 12. Now the Lord said, the number 12 is the number for promise. It's God's promise. It was the promise of God was visualized in the 12 tribes. They were the seed of Abraham. Visualized further in the 12 apostles, the new seed of Abraham, a seed not of birth, not of blood, but of faith in Abraham. That's what the 12 apostles represent. Heaven is the total fulfillment of that, in that it has 12 gates, the 12 tribes, 12 foundation stones, which are the 12 apostles, Jesus Christ being the chief cornerstone of that. And the city lies, the 144,000 and all that stuff, that's multiples of 12. Anyway, Genesis chapter 12, and the Lord said unto Abram, get thee out of thy country. God made this promise to Abram even before he changed his name. Get thee out of thy country and from thy kindred and from thy father's house into a land that I will show thee. And I will make thee a great nation, and I will bless thee and make thy name great, and thou shalt be a blessing. Verse 3, and I will bless them that bless thee. Listen, I know that right now, let me just speak to my heart. I know that right now, the nation of Israel, the Mossad, the government of Israel, the Jews that you might know, they seem to be some of the worst people that you've ever met in your life. The Jews have this idea that they're very greedy people. They're very tight with money. We use this phrase, I'm going to Jew him down, which basically means I'm going to get him to lower his cost. There is a massive amount of evidence that leads me to believe that some of the biggest, darkest conspiracies in the world are being led by people of Jewish descent. If you study the book of Acts, you will clearly see that the people who withstood and stood against the gospel being preached in the early days of the church were Jews. They hated Jesus and they hate the gospel. I believe that at the upper corridors of those who are leading the charge against the Lord and against His anointed in these last days are those of Jewish descent. No doubt in my mind about it. But we are to bless Israel. We are to bless and not curse those whom God has blessed. And don't give me none of this garbage about, well, we've replaced Israel. God's done with it. God's not a liar. And don't give me any of this other garbage either about, well, we're white Anglo-Saxons. We're the real Jews. They're the fake ones. We're the real ones. Go join the Hutaree militia, because I guarantee you that's what they believe. God laid a blessing upon Israel, and He said, I will bless those who bless Israel, and I will curse them that curse Israel. And that promise, given before the law, given even before Abraham had a new name, had a name change, this was given based upon the fact that Abram was simply Abram. Okay? That's what it was given. And I will tell you to bless, to pray. I got some people, I met one of them in South Carolina. A little Christian Jewish woman. God bless her. Her and her husband, great people. They witness to people in Israel all the time. They send flyers out. They promote. I'm telling you, find a Jew and witness to them. Find some way. Pray for them. Pray for that they would get saved. Paul was not anti-Semitic. He said, brethren, my heart's desire is that all Israel would be saved. That's what Paul wanted. That's what you and I should want. I'm telling you, there's going to come a time when Jesus is going to embrace His brethren again, just like Joseph in the days of in the book of Genesis. Don't curse Israel. Okay? Don't do that. President Obama. The Obama administration has encouraged resistance by Palestinians to protest Israel's presence in eastern Jerusalem, a senior Palestinian Authority official claimed to WorldNet Daily. The senior PA official, speaking from Ramallah on condition of anonymity, said that in recent meetings with U.S. envoys to the region, the American diplomats supported and encouraged the concept of Palestinian protests to pressure Israel into evacuating eastern sections of Jerusalem. And I'm going to tell you that Jerusalem doesn't belong to the Palestinians. It doesn't belong to the Vatican. It does not belong to the United Nations. It's not a biosphere. It belongs to the Jewish people. God gave that to them, and they're going to get it back one of these days. But let me tell you where I'm going with this. Here's a perfect example of what you can see going on in the news, in the Scripture. Turn to Obadiah. Got it already. There's only one chapter in there, verse 2. Behold, I have made thee small among the heathen, and thou art greatly despised. Now, I want you to think of America. I want you to think of our country in this. You say, oh, I just want you to think that way. Behold, I have made thee small among the heathen, thou art greatly despised.